what's up, Arrowheads, and welcome to the Arrow Recap Show here on Collider Video. My name is Campea, and this is my moment to apologize for not catching that 0.8 second Hal Jordan reference on last week's episode. And also joining me are three amazing co-hosts, starting with, to my right, Mr. Josh Macuga.
I also failed this city, thus wearing the scarlet letter of Hal Jordan on the Arrow Recap Show. I'm sorry, everybody out there.
And also joining me is Mr. Michael Medina.
Hey everybody, I too have failed the city. I failed the omelet, the souffle that never got delivered to Felicity. I'm sorry.
And last but not least, joining us fresh from New York Comic Con, Mr. Jason Inman.
I did not fail the city, and I actually didn't even watch it with you guys, and I still caught it.
Bravo.
Well,
Bravo.
you win.
Yeah, congratulations, Hal Jordan.
You guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. This is the Arrow Recap Show, where we talk about the show we all love. We also talk about some areas for improvement, take your Twitter questions, as well as go into our predictions for next week's episode. So before we do that, 2 out of the 4 of us are sick. We did introduce a drinking game to make this more interactive, but I think because half of us are sick and half of us are not, we will introduce the drinking game again next week. Mm-hmm. So starting with tonight's episode, Season 4, Episode 2, we're going to go around and get our thoughts on
The candidate.
overall thoughts on tonight's episode.
That's the name. Yep.
On the candidate. Jason, because you were not able to join us last week, I would love to also get your thoughts on the first episode of Season 4 as well. So let's start with you.
The first episode for me was very slow. I thought starting with this home life, I understand why they did it, but starting with this home life, I thought was like a little bit of a disconnect, and I thought they spent too much time there. I'm so glad we're back on Leanne Yu. I just thought the turn of how we got there, just to go to Coast City for 15 minutes, was a little weird, just to show us a Hal Jordan jacket. But I'm excited we're back on the island because I think I'm one of the people that I think they should have never left the island. I think just make it like Lost and just have every crazy DC Comics thing exist on this island for some reason. But I think episode 2 was better than episode 1. I think if the rest of the season goes this direction, I think we're going to get back to season 2. I think there was enough fun stuff. It was a fun, just like, oh, we're going to fight crime. Not too much melodrama. And I think the introduction of Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt, is a great step in the right direction.
Awesome. Michael?
Inman, man, I'm right there with you, man. I'm not even going to lie. I have not been this excited about watching Arrow since season 2.
Nice.
I'm going to put it out there. Like, I'm just excited
Wow,
like, where this
Medina
season's
coming
going
in
to go.
hot. Okay.
Yeah, hot and heavy. I was so pumped at like the T-Spheres. We were talking a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, things like that. The possibilities of what we can, see this season. I am so pumped.
Josh?
Well, to go back on your point on episode 1, just briefly, because we talked about it, I didn't hate the family part, but I thought when it first got to it, it had that like gloss over effect, like a soap opera flashback, and I was like, oh, okay, so like that's, and then it's gonna cut straight to motorcycle, but it didn't. So it is what it is, and I agree with you. It would have been nice if they spent a little more time in a Coast City flashback. That being said, it's great that he's back on the island, and besides the Lance moment, this episode was really good. There were some great action scenes.
Yeah.
I'm really liking that Damien Dark is turning out to be the big bad of this season. Like we've been kind of arguing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's really trending towards him, and he's been just spot on badass. I've really enjoyed him. He's been great.
I'm in the same boat. I thought this episode was solid. I normally have a good, 50-50 list of negatives and positives, but I really just have positives for this episode. So I'm totally happy with it. I agree with you, Jason. I think it was better than the first episode.
It leans toward like a season 1 episode, doesn't it?
I totally agree. I think it's getting us excited for the endless possibilities of a lot of story arcs, actually. And we'll go into that when we get into our positives, but there's just so much to look forward to, I think. And they found the perfect pacing and the balance that they had in season 1 and 2, which I think lacked in season 3, and that's what also made it a little bit awkward for me.
Which could be less Laurel. This was the least Laurel until the end that we have seen all season. Like she was very background. Like Diggle and her took when he's like, get her out of here. They took Madison, the daughter, out. There was very few, and then we're seeing Speedy go nuts. and I think that has a lot to do with it. Less Laurel, more Speedy.
And also, we didn't see any Laurel lawyer scenes, which, I know it's like she doesn't work anymore.
she's Elle Woods in Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
I object.
So let's go into our positives then, because we did already touch on some of them. I totally agree. I think that Laurel fits well when she's within the team. I still don't see her as a positive when she is not. And so I think the same could be said when how I felt about Roy Harper, was that they really started to integrate his character when he became a part of the squad.
Yeah.
But alone, he was still a little bit off-putting for me. So Joshua, what about other positives for you?
I thought that maybe my favorite thing was the integration of Felicity back into Palmer Industries and kind of flexing a little bit of her brain muscle, because she is the brains of the operation. And I love Mr. Terrific. I like the actor that they chose. Thought it was really great casting. I thought he and Felicity had chemistry right off the bat. They're teetering right in that perfect region between really good looking and nerdy smart that is perfect for that. And this guy, he says a lot of the same things and he has a lot of the same cadence as Felicity. I thought that was a beautiful window into a lot more of what we're going to see this season. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Can you guys shed some light on Mr. Terrific? Because I don't know him at all from the comics.
I'll take it.
Okay,
Go for it.
I'll be the comic guy. It's cool.
Take it, Inman.
Mr. Terrific is this Michael Holt from the comic books, a member of the Justice Society of America. He's a brilliant inventor. He's one of the smartest people in the DC universe. Like, there's several jokes in his storylines where they fight on who is the smartest in the DC universe, and he's always one of the people talked about, one of the smartest. He has these devices called T-spheres, which are these little circular things. They're like iPhones, yet cool.
How dare you talk ill?
I have an iPhone too. It's all good, but it like floats around and it talks to you. It's very much like Skeets from Booster Gold, if you get that nerd reference. But I
when
think
you mentioned it before, you ever seen the movie Big Trouble in Little China?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dancing eyeball,
Yeah.
or when Luke is fighting the sphere. Is it kind of what it looks like?
It's exactly like that, except it
Okay.
has a big T on it.
Okay.
And I think when Felicity was like, "Oh, there's this new piece of technology that he's going to introduce," I'm pretty certain it's going to be the T-spheres.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
What about you, Michael?
One of the things I really loved about this episode were the performances. Again, we talked about like Damien Dark. I mean, Lance with all that stuff. Nonetheless, I mean,
What is that? I need to go look at that.
He can be over the top, but I like it. It works for his character.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Thea in this episode.
Speedy
Thank
was
you.
so
Yeah.
good in this
Right?
episode.
Yeah.
I mean, conveniently enough, it took 6 months, or this whole summer, basically for her to go crazy. But I liked it. It worked. It made it interesting. She's fun. I love it.
You know what? I think where we're going with why we all like Speedy was that it's like we've talked about. Bring back the violence. She
Yes.
is violent all of her. She doesn't give a crap. Like, tell me what you're going to tell me, or I'm going to just shove an arrow in your throat. That's what I kind of liked about Speedy. Like, she's not going to take shit from anybody, and we're not. Oliver's like, Speedy, don't be doing that. Like, she's the dad.
I'm like, wait, but she didn't kill him.
Yeah,
it's
just
fine.
break his
It's
arm.
fine.
But I
Yeah.
really liked the fight where they fought and he sort of did the Batman thing where he was like, "Look, you can do this move, and I beat you in one
Yeah.
move, and you did 5 to kill." Like, so I really appreciated this fight. But we got to mention the one thing. We got to mention the coolest comic book thing that happened in this episode.
is that?
The elephant in the room, and that is where Oliver Queen was, "I'm going to run for
Yes.
mayor."
Yes.
Ever since Moira in season 2 was
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to run for mayor," I have been waiting for them to do this Judd Winnick storyline. And if you've never read that Green Arrow storyline where he runs for mayor, go check it out. It is amazing.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So I agree with you. I'm totally excited about seeing that. I think a lot of our fans, a lot of the people that watch the recap show have been waiting for the story arc to happen. And so everyone's like ants in the pants about this. So Danforth. ants in the pants?
Fans.
No? So Lazarus Pit's effect, though, I have that as a note because a lot of us speculated that, Thea would have some sort of ramifications from being dipped in the pit. And now we're finally seeing it again, dipped in the pit.
Dipped in the
Sounds like a dance move.
It is.
I'm happy that they're finally showcasing that because for episodes, even at the end of season 3, we're like, what's going to happen to her? Now we're finally really seeing it.
It was disappointing initially when she comes and like when she jumped out of the pit, last
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
She did do that kung fu thing.
And then
Ring
it was
or something.
nothing. It was like she was fine. So I like the fact that, again, like I said, conveniently enough, but whatever. 6 months later, now we're starting to see some of that. So
Yeah. And we were saying too, because you knew a lot more about the Lazarus Pit. The longer that you're dead, the more messed up you're going to be coming out of the Lazarus Pit.
They also like say it changes for storyline to storyline, but they also say that the longer you've been dead, the harder it is to revive you, and sometimes it may not revive you at all.
Oh, okay.
But we know because Legends of Tomorrow, like we kind of know. But yeah, still, like, so there could be a big arc in this season of Sarah. Sarah could be a part of this show until Legends of Tomorrow, and it could be whacked out crazy Sarah.
Yeah, good point. And how creepy did she look in that coffin?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was
I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, I was just about to
So
say that.
I was surprised too. I didn't think she would be in there actually.
like showing the death face of
Yeah.
Sarah Lance and that thing. That was pretty intense. That was, I mean, that's movie violence kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
it goes back to like what you're saying earlier about Thea. It's gotten darker this season, which I like that they're going back to. I know we talked about like last episode. It's kind of finding a way to make it a little more fun again, I suppose. And that's cool and all, but yeah, I want to see a little dark, and we got that.
And I think him running for mayor and like saying it in this episode, this earlier in the season, is that one of my biggest problems of last season was that they kept going to Nanda Parbat like every episode. They'd be back in Star City, Starling City at that point, and they'd be like, we got to get back to Nanda Parbat. Now, because he's running for mayor, he's got to be in Starling City all the time. So there's not going to be much Nanda Parbat. If anybody's going to be going back and forth in Nanda Parbat, it's Laurel Lance and Speedy because of the Lazarus Pit.
Going on a road trip.
Yeah.
Well, I just had a
Girls trip.
crazy idea. You're talking about the consequences of Nanda Parbat.
Yeah.
And you're talking about dark. Imagine how, so Lance, this entire episode was kind of like, oh, you're doing it differently, huh? Yeah? Well, I don't see that. You burned
You
it.
son of
we
a
needed that last
You
week.
burned the
We didn't
guy.
get that.
I don't see that. Ugh. Anyways.
Love your Lance impression, by the way.
You're getting the Lance nod in there too.
Yeah, I worked
Good.
it in since you
Yeah,
gave me the
good.
secret.
Good.
But imagine how dark it would be. Prediction. Sarah gets resurrected. Zombie crazy Sarah comes back to Star City and encounters her father. And her father, who wants to see her, who just suddenly just starts murdering people.
Oh man.
I'm
That's pretty
sorry.
dark.
Now we're getting dark.
I'm like waist deep in Blackest Night. I showed you guys
Yeah.
what I'm reading right now. So the fact that you're even bringing that up, it's like, oh, that'd be crazy.
But that kind of stuff is like, isn't it interesting that those little things were like, oh yeah, season 4, yeah.
Yes, I think like we talked about in the pre-season, our predictions, that kind of stuff before episode 1. We're like, they got to get back to violence and dark, and they're trending towards that way. Oliver's eventually going to have to take it on the chin, even though he's running for mayor. He's going to have to start throwing some arrows through faces again. You know,
But it's not necessarily dark and depressing like I felt like season 3 was for some
Yes.
reason.
No.
There's a
Yeah.
really good balance right now that they need to continue to trend on
Yeah.
to keep the show up.
Well, we're kind of getting that with the flashback too, which so far, I mean, we haven't seen that much yet, but I'm actually liking the flashback so far this season. I know immediately you were talking about like year 1.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Exactly. So that's pretty cool. I like that they're a little dark. So I want to know what's going on the
and a
on the
fresh
flashback
haircut.
and a fresh haircut.
You know,
That would be
Fresh
awesome.
Island
he just
haircut.
got tired of wearing that wig.
But who's the one that brought up that that's like the smallest opium farm
I think it was
on the
me. I was
island?
like, you're not going to make a profit with that. Not that I grow opium.
Yeah.
But I am
But if I
excited.
did.
I think you and I are both excited that they potentially are hitting on that year 1 story arc that
you
I've been
read it?
waiting. Yes.
It's one of Green Arrow's best storylines.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I've been waiting since season 1. I think, like you, to see them integrate that. When he was first on Leon Yu, I thought that's where they were going with it, and then now hopefully that's where they're going with it, and we'll see China Way there.
And fun fact, if you don't know this, Diggle's name comes from the writer of Green Arrow Year 1 because it was written by Andy Diggle.
Well
And that's where they got Diggle.
See,
Yep.
that's why we have Jason
Yep.
on. Let's talk about Dark's ghosts because Hive, Anarchy, all of that stuff was happening as well. I personally am really fearful of Damien Dark. I feel like they've cast the perfect person, by the way. He has the baby face, but he's also very just
His deathly blue eyes.
scary. He's
You can
creepy
just get
to me.
lost in them.
I mean, what do you guys think? Josh, do you have any thoughts on Damien?
I love him. Like I said, maybe my favorite part. I can't wait to see how dark pun intended, he gets. How like really, because he's got Hive, and now we know that. I love the incorporation of that because now we know that Diggle's going to do whatever it takes to take down Hive because he's been waiting for 2 years to make this happen. And you know that it's never going to be Damien Dark and Oliver Queen in the final battle. It's going to be Diggle and Damien Dark in an ultimate battle. He's going to take off the helmet like me and you in fists. But because he's a mystical, He's got that one up on Diggle. I'm pumped about him. I really am. I'm like
exciting.
geeking out about it.
I love that one line when Anarchy puts his hand on his arm. It's like he says something like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
you've got your hand on me." You get something like
Oh,
that.
I think
Like,
he said, do you realize you're touching me?
yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that was a great line. He
No, I think
delivered
it was-
so well.
Do you realize your hand is on my arm?
Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
Not bad on that one. Yeah. So good. Really, really good stuff.
Did anyone like Anarchy, or is he in your negatives? So I don't want to bring him up if he's not a positive.
We all kind of thought the same thing when we were watching the press conference. It was like, who's the hipster doofus
Yeah,
behind?
he stuck out, didn't he?
Yeah, because he had the bad haircut.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously, good casting. I guess you have to delineate somebody in that situation. And then, the whole machine gun thing kind of starts. But, I mean, he was kind of a decent villain in this episode. I didn't love him per se. But,
See, I didn't love him, but I like that he was a little over the top. I don't mind like an over the top. Like I go back to like was it Mark Hamill as the prankster last season, or just in general, even on the old
Yeah, he
Flash
reminded me of
show.
season 1 Vertigo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I actually, if we don't have any more positives, I would move on to areas for improvement. And I had him in my areas for improvement.
Okay.
Sure.
I personally am not a fan of characters that they introduce like Danforth, who are kind of just throwaway characters, in and out just to introduce what that story is
That's a
going
big
to
negative
be.
of mine too.
Yeah,
Don't
Jason, go ahead.
introduce 7 of 9 on your show and then get rid of her.
Yeah.
Move the plot along.
She's such a great actress.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
So I mean, I know they have to do it, but I personally don't like when they do that, especially if they spend a whole episode with that particular character. The same can be said for Anarchy. Do you think he's going
Yes.
to?
I think
Okay,
we
he's
will.
coming
Yeah,
back.
I
Okay.
think he's definitely coming back. I think he's going to be like Vertigo from season 1, because we thought we had seen the last of Vertigo, then he came back again, and then another guy was like, I'm Vertigo now. And you're like, wait a minute. If he comes back, I want him to have the costume that he has in the comic books, because in the comic books he wears a gold faceplate and he has like this red cloak, and it's very striking. And he's a Batman villain. He was created by Alan Grant, but he's a great villain in the comics. And it's like, okay, if we finally embraced Green Arrow, well, let's just go full on comic book.
Yeah.
Give Anarchy his comic book costume.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, it's working well on Flash.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, nailed
Yeah.
it. We have comic book accurate Jay Garrick. Yeah. Who would ever thought?
Silly helmet and all, but it looks good.
It looks good.
it was amazing for the seconds that I saw it. I will say that what's not in my negatives, and I know I'm going back to positives, is that actually Diggle's helmet was not bad in this episode.
Yeah.
He had the LaDainian Tomlinson visor
He did.
over top of it, and it was the suntan, sunglasses, all black. I like that they made it all black.
once you get rid of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks better.
I mean, it's basically then it's a motorcycle helmet, which again I would be totally fine with. If they just dressed up a motorcycle helmet, amazing.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go dignito, as we've been saying. But I thought I think you don't leave an Anarchy symbol on an ambulance after he's mutilated 2 people without wanting to bring him back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I thought I like that the charge stick. His little, his
Oh,
little
you like
shocker.
that thing? Yeah.
Shocker. Oh, should I know that?
Nice. Any other negatives for the episode?
Like I said, I really like this episode. I mean, yeah, some lines were delivered a little like over the top, like Anarchy and Lance, but I like that. So overall, I mean, I loved this episode.
My other negative is, and I have to ask the whole panel, and I maybe have to ask all the viewers out there, are we certain that Laurel didn't know about the Lazarus pit? I honestly cannot remember.
We can't.
But it
Yeah.
seems weird that she didn't know.
Well, we know that they were all there. They were all in Nanda Park.
We are
I know
for
that
certain.
for a fact. Yeah.
I gotta go back
Okay,
and
do
I
not
remember-
do not tear us apart in the comments.
Yes, we're
Please.
asking for your
We
help.
are seriously asking. We do not remember.
Hal Jordan is asking for your help.
Because I could have
Yeah.
sworn they were all there in that dungeon when they were all like knocked
Yeah.
out and then brought back. I thought she was
I
there
thought
too.
she was too, but
Yeah.
we could be wrong. I don't know.
Perhaps the pit, dipping Thea in the pit happened while they were all passed out. I don't know. I can't, like I said, you
Yeah.
guys. Just
Or maybe that
because
because again they went back and forth to Nanda Parbat like several times. So maybe that was one of the 8 trips
Yeah.
that she wasn't on.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
I
They
guarantee
basically
the
had a
comments will tell
timeshare
us.
in Nana
Yeah.
Parbat.
Yeah.
You kept going back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all in the same thing of like she didn't know, or she. Because had she known, she wouldn't have been like, oh, we could do Sarah in there, right?
I love Yoda.
Yeah, with
I
Yoda.
don't know. That's my weird
Yeah,
impression.
she
of
wouldn't have left
Yoda.
her sister in the
Yeah.
ground for a year.
Exactly. Yeah.
She would have come and cut, and she does like her little. Could have done Sarah.
Well, I think we all kind of thought this too, is that with the endless possibilities of the Lazzy pit,
The Lazzy Pit.
Why not
You
Tommy?
are with it today on some lingo. The
Why
Dippin'
not
Duck,
Tommy?
what did you call it? What was it?
What?
The Dippin' Duck?
No, there was a
in the
dance
pit?
move. The dip in the pit. Dip in the pit.
Ants in the pans.
Dip the pit.
Ants in the pants. Dip in the pit. And what was the third one you just
Lazzy
said?
pit.
Lazzy
Lazzy
Pit. All I'm saying is, for every character that has died in this show, we have Moira, we have Tommy. Who would you guys save now that we know, that we can bring people back to the pits and bring them back?
I don't know.
Moira.
Yeah, me too.
Without a heart, without even a Moira. There's one interesting thing that Moira, when she was killed off the show, that I noticed the show has been missing since she's been gone. I miss a character that's a little bit older, that's sort of the sage master. It's the thing that Martin Stein, Victor Garber, is doing on The Flash very well right now.
Yeah.
And since the death of Moira, I think this was to the detriment of season 3, we've been missing that older character. Like, I've actually been wanting Walter to come back. Where's Walter?
They mentioned him in last
And he was
episode.
great.
Yeah, he was amazing.
What if Walter came back with red stripes? Like, where's Walter? Get it? Get it? All right, guys, I'm done.
Well, they asked Walter to run for mayor, and apparently in the premiere episode, he said no. So
Oh, they name dropped him?
they did
Oh,
name
cool.
drop him in the premiere. So
Yeah, he kind of
doesn't
just
wanna do
disappeared.
it.
And I love that actor.
Yeah.
He's great.
We haven't seen him since the first episode of season 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael, who would you save?
I probably would go Moira, but honestly, I would hope that they don't go. I hope they don't go down that route. I just think it's a little cheesy if you just decide you want to start bringing everyone back. You know what I mean?
I don't think they will.
No, they
Yeah.
won't. But it would be, I guess Moira.
I'm obviously on board with a Tommy Merlin comeback. You got a little man crush on that dude because he was like, I kind of, Oliver comes back and every girl just wants him automatically, and Tommy's like, but I've been holding court here, Oliver, for 5 years, putting in legwork with Laurel Lance, and then you come back, and I was like, man, Oliver's back. I better give him a chance. But if Tommy came back, I would love to see, a little angle of like a Malcolm Merlin training, or like him being like, listen, I can kick ace too. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to kick. And
Actually, if Tommy came back, Oliver might just be like, screw it, I'm going to kill guys again.
yeah. That's the beauty of Tommy coming back. Yeah.
Well, I'm with Moira. I'm with you guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, so let's move on to our Twitter questions because we have a few that are pretty good as well. One comes from Ken, who asks, hey guys, I was wondering what your theories are for how Felicity and or Curtis will discover that Ray is still alive. And Jason, I want to start with you on this one.
Yeah, I told you guys my Ray theory before we started the show. And so in the episode, they were in Ray's old office, the conference room and everything like that. And we've already said that Michael Holt invents T-spheres, these things that are amazing supercomputers. I think Ray, at the last second before the explosion, figured out, or the explosion triggered, his shrinking technology. And I think Ray is subatomic in the office. And he's very tiny, and I think it's just he's been trying to avoid, he doesn't know where he is because he doesn't know his perspective. And I think when they activate the T-spheres are going to go to one corner of the room and be spinning, and they're going to spend the whole episode being like, why is it over in the corner? Why is it over in the corner? Oh my God, Ray.
And then Rick Moranis comes in,
Yep.
hanging around, looking, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Running on that giant
That's
ant.
right, the end. Yeah.
That theory gives me the chills. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
really
even have
cool.
anything better than that. Michael, what do
No,
you have?
I mean that's the first thing. Not in that that
worries.
much detail, but I did think the same thing. I'm like, okay, he had to have shrunk down.
Yeah.
When the explosion went
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
he had to have shrunk down. I didn't think he would still be in the office or not, but that's actually a really cool theory.
Well, think about it, because if you were that tiny, it would take you months and months and months just to cross a foot.
Yeah.
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 Josh, anything?
Well, obviously, props to that theory because it's incredible. And
Watch
I
us be totally
I
wrong.
love it. Yeah. He just shows up. He's like, I was shooting a test for the next Superman. They're really not going to go with me again. No, I don't know. I don't have a good prediction for that because we obviously know that he shows up eventually. He's
Yeah.
gonna be wherever. The one that makes the most sense is him being subatomic, or we're gonna see at some point before the explosion, his technology, he took off Iron Man style, and he's either Flash style, through some vortex, or he is up in space and he's
Or
orbiting.
that Rip Hunter grabbed him at a time, which
Right.
is a possibility. But I'd rather it be because the atom shrinks. I'd rather it be he shrinks.
More realistic
Yeah.
is.
Be a great way to introduce that.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I buy it. Next question comes from Macuga. Hey guys, if we have magic of dark and Constantine this season, do you think we could see Zatanna or Zatara at some point? And Michael, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think I actually mentioned that last week too, because we were talking about like the difference between like magic and like mysticism and stuff. And I would love to see some Zatanna. And I want a comic book accurate Zatanna. I want like
Fishnets and all.
Fishnets and everything, little hat, everything. I would love that. Why not?
By the way, I heard that's what you were going to cosplay for Comic-Con this year.
A lot, man.
He's
Just
borrowing
give it
my
away for me.
costume.
Just gave it away.
Josh, what do you think?
I don't know a ton about either of them, so I guess welcoming them into the show would be would be great with me. Anybody that they bring into the comic books that it will help me go back and like do a little research, that is always appealing to me. So
Yeah, and I'm already excited that we know Constantine is coming in, even at least for one episode. Yeah. I actually followed that show, and I like the actor that's playing him.
I did too.
I like everything that they set up for him, so I'm excited that they actually took that guy and are just bringing him onto our show. Zatanna would be great. I'm not too familiar with Zatara, but I think you said that's her
Zatara's
dad.
her dad.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
her full name is actually Zatanna Zatara.
Right.
So that's her actually last name.
Oh, okay.
So
Jason,
yeah.
what do you think?
Alliteration.
it's like George Foreman naming his kids
Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
Tomato.
I'm putting money on the table that we see Zatanna before season's end.
Really?
Yes, because I think if we're introducing Constantine, if we're doing a season about DC Comics mysticism, why would you not put in the most famous DC magician, even more well-known than Constantine? Zatanna was in the Batman the Animated Series. Zatanna was in the Justice League cartoon that a lot of people know. She's going to be in it.
Do we have any ideas as to who would play her?
I don't
at
know.
this point?
Somebody at the CW casting.
Yeah, they'll recycle somebody from Vampire Diaries.
Super hot girl that they've
Yeah.
known through many casts. We've been trying to get you on a show for so long. I think we've got the perfect role for you. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question then. I was thinking like Dr. Fate, Felix Faust. Do you think we might see anything like that if we're opening up?
Here's the cool thing: we talked about this in the pre-show episode. Is the Constantine show in this continuity? If so, Dr. Fate is already in the show because he had the helmet of Naboo in his house in the show. So and there also he had a poster in his home that said Zatara.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Zatanna's already in his universe too. So yeah,
possible.
Felix Faust. I don't know if we'll go Felix Faust because he's big enough to be a season-long villain on his own.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably get a mention in Naboo, but I think we see Zatanna on screen.
I'm down for it.
Excited. All right, next question. Comes from Nick Vargas, who asks, now that Oliver has decided to run for mayor, do you think he will reveal he is the Green Arrow to Star City this season? I'll start and say that I know, and wouldn't everyone else in the city know that Oliver Queen is the Arrow or Green Arrow?
Yeah, we joke around about that all the time when he was talking about like, I am the Green Arrow. I mean, you see all this basically with the stupid little mask. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
And Danforth said that she was like, oh, I guess there's the new Arrow. Like, so I guess is the assumption that people in Star City think that it's a new person because we saw Roy die as the Arrow. I don't know.
And a person whose
so.
name and face has been all over television for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, he's disappeared. If you put a hood on Kim Kardashian, you would know this is Kim Kardashian from here down.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
who Oliver Queen is to Star City.
Yeah.
So
Domino masks don't work.
yeah, somebody's gonna pick out something, and he'll have to reveal himself. I think what's the more important question is what happens when he does reveal himself.
I have another crazy prediction.
Go.
This is the episode of my crazy prediction. I think near season finale, I think it's going to come to a head. The campaign and then his battle against Dark. And then at some press conference or something like that, he's going to be late or something like that. And I think he's just going to come out into the press conference in that gear, pull off his mask, and like, I'm Oliver Queen. I protected your city in the shadows. Let me protect it during the day. And that will win him the election.
Boom.
Man.
And next season, Mayor Oliver Queen in the public as Green Arrow.
Do we like it? Do we
I
buy it?
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I hope they will embrace him once he actually does reveal his identity, though. That's, I think, part of me is fearful that once he does, are they going to, you know, go against him? Are they going to just embrace the character and have him, you know, be the vigilante for their city?
I mean, it's obviously that in any kind of politics, there's going to be the opposing force. It's like, we can't have a vigilante as a mayor. And then who runs for mayor? Lance, just getting up on the podium.
If he's not in that grave.
Good point. No, we've all watched enough TV in our lives to know that it's not going to be perfect. He's going to run for mayor. And like you said, there's going to be a group or someone that's going to be opposed to that.
Yeah.
So let's go into our predictions for episode 3. We did have a chance to see the 40-second trailer for next week's episode. I have no idea who that guy is with the playing cards.
I want to say maybe he's Double Down. That's what they flashed those
they
words.
did
Double
say
Down.
That, yeah. So
I don't
that's
know
a
anything about
character.
Double Down.
Sure.
So.
It's just Gambit.
Yeah. Any
Sort of.
predictions? It's Gambit. That's all I have too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have any. I don't like to predict things when it comes to like the next episode. What I do hope, like prediction wise, is that we see some really cool artwork for like the Oliver Queen campaign, or we see some like people coming, like advisors that would work with him, or what his plans are for that kind of thing. That would be my hope for next episode, I guess, instead of prediction. Does that help? No.
Yeah, no, that helps.
Okay.
I think for me, I think they've harped on Felicity wanting a code name. I would love to see them keep going with it.
It's too bad it can't be Oracle.
It's Oracle. That's what I want. So I hope they just keep going with that. I know it's kind of just a joke between her and Oliver right now, but I hope they do take it seriously, because I think Felicity warrants, the name of Oracle, and everyone's been waiting for it. So
Can I propose a challenge maybe to the table?
Yeah, sure.
Everybody, all next week, until next episode.
Come up with a code name?
Come up with a code name. See what the fans like most.
Computer glasses.
DJ Felly fell. You have felled this city.
Ants in the pants.
Skirt smarts.
Michael, anything?
I actually want to go back to seeing some more friction between Diggle and Oliver. We didn't get much of that in this episode. We saw them work together.
Yeah.
They seemed okay, whatever. There was a brief mention that they still, aren't seen eye to eye. So I'm hoping we see more of that next episode. Okay.
Yeah, Jason?
I think Double Down, or whatever his name is Damien Dark stepping up. I think he realizes that he's like, 2 episodes, I wasn't able to beat the Arrow. I'm going to hire somebody with superpowers to take down the Arrow, because I know the Arrow doesn't have superpowers. My other prediction is the end of the next episode will be Sarah waking up out of the pit.
That fast.
I think
huh?
it'll be that fast. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Arrow Recap Show. We want to thank you guys for joining us, and keep the conversation going by, number 1, subscribing to Collider Video and making sure to comment in the comment section of this video, as well as tweeting us at #ColliderArrow. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you, Ann.
And Josh, where can people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh Macuga, and my YouTube channel, my show, Between the Sheets TV.
And Michael?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and me and that guy over there, Mr. Macuga, right here on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We don't have that connection, Jason. But Jason, where can
Tiffany.
people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Periscope at Jawin, Jawin, and also on youtube.com/Jawin, same spelling.
Awesome. And you guys can follow me on all social media networks at Campea. And until next week, people, send in your code names and everything else, your predictions for next week's episode. And until then, hood up.